Weird place.
Perfect for a day trip.
I know. Yeah, I've been up there. It's weird. I've been up there twice, like in the last 6 weeks. I went out one day. I had no like actual face-to-face meetings. It was all
It is dialed. Please consult
I
your
just was up there to go get some wine at the Caduceus shop, and then Allison and I were wedding anniversary's like right before Christmas, on the 21st. Oh, is it? It's the winter solstice. And so
Welcome to CenturyLink conferencing. Please enter your passcode followed by the pound or hash key, and I'll connect you.
I've been there a lot lately. It's amazing. Like Hollywood's a legitimate place. Yeah.
Is not a passcode that I can confirm. Please try entering your passcode again.
It was a good break, and kids are back and school. It's just nice. Yeah, it's just weird, you know. So yeah, everything good in your world?
Please hold while I confirm your passcode. 700572661 is not a passcode that I can confirm. Please try entering your passcode again, followed by the pound or hash key.
Yeah. Oh, right. What kind of medicine is it?
Please hold while I confirm your passcode. 70057572261 is not a passcode that I can confirm. I'm sorry, but I'm unable to connect. Welcome to CenturyLink conferencing. Please enter your passcode.
Okay, it's pretty competitive. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, anyway, you know, and then
Is that true?
Please hold while I confirm your passcode. Thank you. Your passcode is confirmed. When you hear the tone, you will be the first person to join the meeting. The line will be silent until another person joins.
You have to go to the state of the state? Anything like
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alexis, if you could do the roll call, please.
And just a notice, our projector and everything is down today, so unfortunately we will not have projections on. Okay. President Sensman? Vice President Lee?
Here.
Superintendent Hoffman?
Here.
Here. Mr. Close?
Here.
Mr. Mason? Ms. Rice? Mr. Swanson?
Here.
Mr. Twist?
Here.
Ms. Yanov?
Here.
Vice President Lee, you have quorum.
And I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to move item K up to be taken after item F. If I could have a second. So moved. Perfect. Either one of you? Rachel? Okay. With the second.
Vice President Lee?
Yes.
Superintendent Hoffman?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Close?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye. Aye.
Ms. Yanov? Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Is there a motion then for item K? Do we have any explanation, or do we just go straight to the motion? Oh, you're right. Sorry. Superintendent's report. Just kidding. I can read, I promise. All right.
Okay.
Superintendent, yes.
We'll go in
Thank you.
the order of the alphabet.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. It's great to be back. So first, just wanted to update, looking back to last December. In mid-December, we had the State Board of Education meeting where we approved the 383 sites that will receive funding for the school safety positions under the expanded school safety grant. We are so thrilled that 383 school communities will be able to hire school counselors, social workers, and SROs, but of course we have so much more work to do. We had more than 900 schools that applied for funding, and so we must make sure that every school has the resources they need to keep students healthy and safe. I'm pleased that Governor Ducey has said he is committed to increasing funding for this program, and I look forward to working with our state leaders in this legislative session starting today to make sure every school in Arizona can receive these resources. Another update is that last November, we held our first Student Advisory Council meeting. I was completely blown away by our students' passion for issues in their communities and schools. On the Student Advisory Council, we have 20 student advisors representing 5th through 12th grades. They come from all over the state, from Douglas to Winslow to Sierra Vista, Tucson, and Phoenix. The priorities our students discussed included mental health resources, transportation, and culturally inclusive curriculum. The last quick announcement is regarding our report cards and per pupil spending. Following a new federal rule, our school report card system will soon show per pupil spending at the school level. Our goal is to have these numbers available by the end of March, and our communications team will be sending resources and offering trainings to school leaders about how to best communicate these numbers to their school communities. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. Executive Director's report, Ashley.
Okay. Vice President Lee, Madam Superintendent, and members, I actually want to say thank you for having me back. I feel very honored to be able to serve this board again. So
Thanks for
thank
being
you.
back. We're excited.
Last week was my official start back in the office, and I'm excited to continue to serve this board, look for additional ways that I can make reasonable and good improvements to our processes, and to continue the work that Charles did and was starting. So I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to working with all of you and the stakeholders in this room. On to board actions and legal matters. All of the audits have been received besides one, which is vision, and they will be on the board agenda later today. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you. Were there any call to the publics? I didn't see any.
I didn't receive any.
No? Okay. All right, now item K.
So, Vice President Lee, I would like to move to approve Mary Ellen Lee to serve as president of the Arizona State Charter Board and Hans Dieter Close to serve as vice president at the Arizona State Charter Board
Second.
during the 2020-2021 year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cole, for the second. Okay.
Vice President Lee,
Aye.
Superintendent Hoffman,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Mr. Close,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
Mr. Twist,
Aye.
Ms. Yanov.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Yay. Awesome. All right, moving on. Charter Amendment G. Rachel.
President Lee, Superintendent Hoffman, and board members, good morning. Before we proceed with item G1, I would like to provide some additional information. At the November 2019 board meeting, 2 charters had requests that were denied by the board. As a component of consideration of one of those items, the board directed staff to look into including additional data in the executive summaries and having a conversation about the data that is provided to the board during its consideration. Following that meeting and up until posting for this meeting, board staff had conversations and meetings with several outside entities, as well as specific charter holders with 3 specific objectives. 1, gain additional understanding of the data provided in the board's executive summaries. 2, determine what additional valid and reliable data is publicly available or can be provided by the Arizona Department of Education or an individual school. 3, determine whether data should be added or if the presentation of certain data should be adjusted. As a result, this month's executive summaries include additional data for board consideration. This includes 2 new graphs. The first represents a charter holder's subgroup data in comparison to schools within a 5-mile radius of its current school, and in the case of expansion, within a 5-mile radius of the proposed location. The additional data also includes a new graph that breaks down the number of schools by letter grade that serve a population that is similar to that of a charter holder's, specifically schools that serve an FRL, ELL, or special education population that is plus or minus 5% of the charter holder's data. Additionally, when available, nearby schools comparisons include schools within a 2-mile radius of the school operated by the charter holder, and in the case of expansion, within a 2-mile radius of the proposed location. Finally, schools provided the full breakdown of their school report card data as reported to them by the Arizona Department of Education to give a more in-depth picture of the school's AZ merit data, including growth metrics. Before we continue, are there any questions for me about this? Okay, G1. Eagle College Prep Maryvale, LLC, submitted a new school amendment request to add Eagle College Prep Glendale to its charter. The new school would be located in Glendale, serve students in grades K through 8, and open in FY 2021. In conjunction with the new school amendment request, the charter holder has requested to increase its enrollment cap from 450 to 650. The charter holder does not meet the staff recommendation criteria because Eagle College Prep Maryvale does not perform at or above the average performance of schools within a 5-mile radius of its current location, as outlined in the executive summary. Additionally, the charter holder was identified for targeted improvement by the Arizona Department of Education in FY 2018 for the subgroup of students with disabilities. This charter holder was before the board with this request in November of 2019. At that time, the request was denied by the board. The reason for denial was the charter holder being below the state average in student achievement. The board is considering this request today with additional data provided.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. And is there a representative for Eagle?
Good morning, President Lee, Vice President Close, Superintendent Hoffman, and members of the board. I'm Steve Inman, and I'm the charter representative for Eagle Maryvale, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to address specifically in regards to growth data or anything like that? 'Cause I know that was kind of the piece, the extra additional data that you brought before us.
Yeah, I think there are two components that I think are highlighted in the data that you have. One of the components is that I think by looking at the state's A through F letter grade framework, on the table that's found on the bottom of page 4, where it shows those that have similar percentages of FRL or those that have percentages of ELL, what you'll note is that we're actually in the top percentage of those that have, we're a B school according to the framework. And so I think using the A through F framework at least gives a proxy for the balance between proficiency and growth. And I think it's important to note that my comments last time, I still think are pretty important that we do have a mix and a balance between proficiency and growth, not one over the other. And so I think the A through F framework does that, and I think what it shows is that that in both of those where we have the percentage of FRL and ELL, we actually perform, I think, relatively well when we look at it that way. So that's one. The other is that what was provided is the state A through F data that we received. And what you can see there, we talked about growth points last time, and I think that there are somewhere north of 1,300 traditional schools that are K through 8 schools that are evaluated in the A through F framework. And with our growth score, so the over 40 points that is denoted there, we actually would be in the top 1/3 of all that receive that growth score if you just look at that number of those over 1,300 schools. So I think those are probably the two data points. One is I think A through F provides a proxy for growth that you can see in conjunction with, and so we perform well using the data that the board staff presented. And then secondly, just understanding the context of those 40 points, we actually perform quite well regardless of demographics.
Right. And Rachel, can you confirm just the growth in comparison to the other schools in the area for me?
Yes, so Eagle Maryvale earned 40.16 growth points according to the report card data. We ran the average and found that the average growth points within a 2-mile radius is 35.78, so they're about 5 points above the average.
That's great. And then I also noticed in the data in the new location, you'd be performing at the top for proficiency, actually, as well.
Right.
Okay. Board members, are there any other questions? Yeah, Superintendent.
Welcome back. President Lee and board members, I was just wondering, and I'm sorry if I asked this last time too, but could you expand a little bit on for the new school, what the team for special education will look like? I see some of the information here, but if you could just expand on that, since I know that that's the area that you're in targeted support for.
Yeah, so I think for clarification, the targeted support is related to the state's application of the ESSA legislation, in which there were actually well over 500 elementary schools that were targeted for support. So it's not the traditional targeted support for a given school. It is based on the state's application of ESSA. But with that said, our focus on special education is very important to us. As we may have indicated in our last meeting, we did have in the fiscal year that is reported, we did have some issues with our programming that we have addressed that were related to some staff issues. We've tried to bring in some additional supports this year, and we will continue to do those as we move forward, making sure that all students have access to a high-quality education.
Could you specifically share the new positions? Who will you be hiring for the new school? For special education?
The individuals?
Not their names, like the positions, the team.
Oh, okay. So the school itself we're wanting to launch would be, the first year would be kindergarten through 3rd grade. So that's all we would launch in the first year. And then we would add from there. We would actually have a special education teacher for that number of students. So you can see that it's a relatively small number, so we would make sure that they have the supports of having a special education teacher even in a small group like that.
And for students that require speech services or occupational services?
Yeah, we have contracted support services at our existing site that we would be able to use for those as well. And we also use those same contracted support services at our other locations to make sure that all students that have needs are met through their IEPs.
Is the school psychologist also contracted?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. President Lee, I'll get that down by the end of the meeting, maybe. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to staff for doing the work to get us more information. I think it was pretty apparent. It was frustrating for all of us to feel like there was different pieces of information on both sides, and we couldn't really reconcile that. So I just really appreciate the work that was done. I also want to say I have a big heart for this community, and I just really appreciate the work you're doing. It is not easy to serve a group of kiddos that come in with a lot of different backgrounds, and they have lots of amazing assets, but we have to do a lot of work to make sure that we illuminate all of that. So I just appreciate who you're serving. It is hard to get 40 growth points, so I hope we all can applaud that. That is no small feat. So thank you. Keep doing it. It's really great.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to echo what Rachel said, I do really appreciate board staff. They got together this information very quickly, which is no small feat. And just moving forward, I'd like to include this growth information when applicable on these executive summaries, because I think, I'll speak for myself, but I think I could speak for most people here that we agree. You know, it's not just proficiency, but it's proficiency and growth. And I wish we could show you what the executive summaries look like now. I guess you can go online and see them, but it gives us all the information is what it does, and so it really allows us to make an informed decision where we didn't have some of those pieces at the last meeting. So I appreciate you coming back and working really well with the board. I know I heard great things with those interactions as well, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. With that, is there a motion?
Yep. I'll go ahead and make one. And I do want to echo the echo of the appreciation for the work done. I move, based on the information contained in the board materials and presented today, to approve the request to add a new school and increase the enrollment cap to 650 for the contract held by Eagle College Prep Maryville, LLC.
Thank you, Hans. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Carol.
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Hoffman,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
Mr. Twist,
Aye.
Ms. Yanoff,
Aye.
President Lee.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, replication applications. Rachel, you're up today, huh?
It's my day. All right. American Charter Schools Foundation, DBA Southridge High School, submitted an application to replicate its charter, which has been in operation since 2003. If approved, the new charter will be held by the same entity as the existing charter and will hold a contract with the same education service provider. The proposed school will be called Ridgeview College Preparatory High School and has a target start date of August 3rd, 2020. The charter will have an enrollment cap of 600 and serve grades 9 through 12 in Santan Valley. This charter holder was also before the board with this request in November of 2019. At that time, the request was denied by the board. The reason for denial was the charter holder having low academic achievement, and like the charter holder you just considered, the additional data is included in this executive summary as well.
Great, thank you. Is there a representative for Southridge High School? Awesome. If you could state your name for the record.
Good morning. President Lee, Superintendent Hoffman, members. My name is Michelle Kay, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Leona Group. I have a team here who is ready to answer any questions. They were here as well in November. We do appreciate the opportunity to be before you again for the reconsideration, and as the board just stated, I do want for the record to thank Rachel Hanna and board staff for all of the work that went into putting this together, and certainly Executive Director Berg jumped in with both feet right away. Couple things that I wanted to highlight for you. I sent public comment prior to the board meeting. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look at it, but the low academic achievement was cited for the reason for the denial. We have additional information for you. Something that isn't in your board packet that I want to share with you are the accolades and the achievements that Southridge has received over the years, and specifically jumping to their post-secondary outcomes. The 2018 Maricopa Community College report that was out, 2019 is not out yet, but 2018 shows that 93% of Southridge's graduates who enrolled in the fall persisted to the spring semester at their community college, compared to the 77% of the state. Additionally, last year's graduating class was 79 students. Of those students, 54% of them were the first in their family to graduate from high school. not go to college, but graduate from high school. This is common among the Southridge graduating class year after year, and of the 100% were accepted to a college or university. 84% are currently enrolled in a university or community college. 81% of those students are the first in their family to attend a college or university or some sort of post-secondary. 100% are post-secondary, college, university, or are employed. So they're all contributing currently to our society. We have a 90% free and reduced lunch rate. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this, I know you have the growth information, I know you have the report card data, but this is not new for Southridge. This is reflective of the culture that has been created since inception and the expectation that has been set since inception. So it doesn't always reflect on our AZ merit scores that students are going, are attending, and are succeeding in college. We're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Board members, are there any questions?
So I have a question, and congratulations. These are wonderful statistics. Can you talk a little bit about your new location and the demographics of the kids that you're going to serve there and how they compare to the
So I am happy to answer that. I think it's more meaningful coming from Scott Shelley. He's technically our budget manager, but he's led our expansion efforts for the last couple of years. He's a member of this community, so it's very close to his heart. Just wanted to make sure he had the opportunity to share.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, members of the board. Being a resident of the area, it is near and dear to my heart. The area is quite unique. Santan Valley is in Pinal County. In fact, the county line runs right through there. So the demographics are quite diverse. You have a little more of an affluent area in the Queen Creek area, which is in Maricopa County. As you tend to go south towards Florence, it seems like the median home prices seem to go down a little bit lower. The socioeconomics tend to go down a little bit lower. We are serving all students in that area, but our target market are these students, the same type of students that we have at Southridge. They're free and reduced rates. If you're looking at down near Florence, go up around to the 65 to 70%. If you're looking at Magnum Ranch, or even in the Florence area. If you look at the high school free and reduced numbers, though, within those areas, they're a little bit higher. One of the reasons is because the area is so larger, and where they're busing some of the students are actually bused from Santan Valley to Florence High School. What we want to do is obviously have provide a school in which we can offer the same type of services that we're doing at Southridge, where we're taking these students in and giving them that college opportunity. Some of the students that Michelle talked about, first time going to college with family, things like that.
So your physical location is closer to the demographics that you're serving now?
Correct.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a follow-up question to that. So, because 90% free and reduced lunch versus 60% free and reduced lunch isn't necessarily the same. I mean that's a big gap, right? So does your model change? I mean, how do you target then in a diverse population, right? If you're model and targeting that percentage, a 90% FRL, well, I mean, what does that look like for your model, right, in that area? Because it's not going to be, it'll be different.
So it's not that different. What we did at Southridge, the focus at Southridge was really taking what works for all students, particularly higher performing students, and bringing it to the Southridge community. So we offer AP courses and intend to offer AP courses. We have relationships with the local community colleges in most of our high schools already, particularly Central Arizona College. So we would continue to offer dual enrollment. And then for the lower performing students, just continue to have the supports. But we're mindful that there's a demographic shift. We don't see that as a particular challenge with the program that's in place. We intend to keep pushing students beyond where they are. So wherever that they come in, we'll continue to work with them and push them. Mm-hmm. But AP, of course, AP courses work for all students.
Sure. And so then the SPED population percentage looks like, so currently it's at 5%, the proposed location it's at 11%, so it's just over doubling, we'll say doubling. So what, I mean, that's a big jump. So what's your plan for that?
Yeah, so Leona Group High Schools actually have a 10.7% SPED population rate to begin with. So we have a robust department. Heidi Sinkovic is our Director of Exceptional Student Services. Each school has a coordinator on site, they have a teacher on site, and typically a para. So this is a big percentage of our population overall, elementary and high school, so we don't see that as being an issue at all. We have long-standing relationships with speech pathologists, psychologists, and all of the support services that are needed.
And just a point of clarification, the 60% FRL that you were saying, because we show in the board packet that it's 38% for your proposed location, is that because you're targeting Florence versus, the Pinal County side versus the Maricopa County side?
Right,
Is that?
you're looking at a blend between two communities, and so if you're focusing on just that, then that's where you kind of get that percentage. But again, if we're looking at our target market, probably more towards the south, closer to Copper Basin area, Magma Ranch, Florence area.
I have a question just sort of network-wide, so I think that's you. If that's okay. Sorry.
Yes, please.
I never asked for permission. I just want to talk. So looking at the school, I think there's a lot of compelling data that the school's got things going on. It's more the big as you grow question. So having done it and known that growing hurts and there's sometimes some pain, and I can see some schools are, in maybe some places that you're working on. So how are you addressing growing and still maintaining the level of high expectation and improvement for some of your schools that are sort of in that C range? Like, how are we making sure that we don't have growth hinder the schools you currently have?
So yes, I think the bulk of our work that needs to be done is in the elementary school area. Our high school, we do have one alternative high school that is a C. But the bulk needs to be done in the elementary area. We do have somebody who's specifically dedicated to our elementary school initiatives. We also have a number of our schools participating in the Elevate program, which is through the Arizona Department of Education, school improvement, and even schools that were not technically designated for improvement, we entered into that program so that they would all be doing the same thing, speaking the same language, having the same conversations around improving student achievement. So it is a focus. And then within our office, Mary's team is probably 10 people or so focusing specifically on student achievement in various forms.
So I don't know enough about the Elevate program to be well spoken about it. I apologize, but what does it entail?
It's
team, but yeah.
designated as executive leadership training, so it's really good best practices focusing on culture and climate, student achievement, and talent management. And when I say culture and climate around student achievement. So it's really a wonderful opportunity for our network to engage in prolonged and sustained conversations. Because of the size, sometimes that is difficult. This is 3 days, multiple times a year that we're coming together and having those same conversations and checking the data. And then we have 4 dedicated leadership coaches through the grant that are working with all of our building principals as well.
And what kinds of, it sounds like it's early, but in general, what kinds of growth are you seeing, especially in those schools where you know that
it is so early that we've been through our training. The rest of our leaders are going in February.
Got it.
But we've heard from other, in vetting the program, we talked to a number of other district superintendents and folks who've implemented the program and saw big achievement.
Other questions, board members? Okay. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I want to make a comment first. I just, while the demographics for the new proposed location are different, I think there is a population that can be served, that can benefit, and I think that your group could provide that benefit. So in that, following that comment, I'd like to make the motion based on the information contained in the board materials and presented today to approve the request to grant that replication charter to American Charter Schools Foundation, DBA Ridgeview College Preparatory High School to establish Ridgeview College Preparatory High School to serve grades 9 through 12.
Awesome. Thank you, Hans. Is there a second?
Second?
I think Carol got it in just before you.
Got
So
it.
it's great.
Vice President,
Aye.
Superintendent Hoffman,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
Mr. Twist,
Aye.
Ms. Yanoff,
Aye.
President Lee.
Yeah, just really fast before, I just want to, thank you guys for coming out and meeting with us. I think when we talk about school replications and doing new schools, there's a different accountability piece when we look at proficiency and growth than, same thing with expansion requests. And so I appreciate you guys being willing, to kind of come back and produce the data as well. And again, I just want to thank board staff. I mean, this has been, I think, a huge process for us, and it gets everybody, all of us board on the same page in regards to being able to see the data in a really meaningful way. And so I just wanted to, appreciate all the work. So with that, yes, aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Great. All right, moving along. Charter renewal, Concordia by Rachel.
Concordia Charter School submitted a charter renewal application on July 23, 2019 to continue operation of Concordia Charter School. Concordia Charter School serves grades K through 6 in Mesa with a current enrollment cap of 175. As part of the renewal process, staff conducted an on-site academic systems review visit at Concordia Charter School on December 16, 2019. During the academic systems review, specific areas of the charter contract are reviewed to ensure a charter holder is in compliance. The charter holder was informed that it needed to align its advertised mission and the mission on file in the contract, and needed to submit revised enrollment documents and a parent-student handbook. The charter holder brought both areas into compliance on December 19, 2019. The charter holder currently meets the board's academic, operational, and financial performance expectations. And I do want to note that their report card data was not included in the board packet. However, it is at each of your seats for you to review if you would like to do so.
Thank you, Rachel. And is there a representative from Concordia? All right, if you could state your name for the record.
Chair,
and then any
good
other
morning,
comments.
President Lee, Superintendent Hoffman, Board, welcome back. My name is Margaret Rauschmeyer. I'm the founder and director for Concordia Charter School, and I have Brooke Jurdy with me, who is our curriculum supervisor / instructional coach, and my heir apparent. Okay.
Awesome. And any comments or anything for the board? You don't have to, but just in case you wanted to say
Well,
something.
the comments I would like to make is that when we started, the vision for our charter school was initially to serve in transitional neighborhood, first-generation immigration students, working with families in very small, nurturing environment. I'm proud to say that still, to this day, we serve a 90% population of first-generation immigration student. We have a 97% free and reduced lunch population. We have an outstanding school program, academic program, as well as wellness components, gardens, and the whole community aspect. We work closely with First Things First and with our local food banks to provide the social needs for our families. Most importantly, we said we were going to use the core knowledge curriculum. We continue to use the core knowledge curriculum. We were going to incorporate the ideas of developmental assets. We've continued to do that. We also have used pretty much the same programming that we've used all along and said we were going to do. So we humbly come to you today and say we've done what we promised we would do 15 years ago, and we humbly ask that you approve our renewal today.
Thank you. Board members, are there any questions?
So,
Yes, Ms. Crockett.
I'm curious. So your letter grade is C, but has it always been that? If you've been doing the same things, what's changed?
Well, our population changes, and our population is transient. We went from a D 4 years ago to a B. Last year we were an A. I quickly put in my renewal application the minute it was available in July. I was promised a visit in October, and then things happened with staffing, and we didn't get our meeting in October because I was really pushing to get us in front of you in November while we were still an A. We went to a C this year by 0.04%. Again, because of the nature of our population, that's one student. our one student was, we are on a modified year-round schedule, and we have some of our students who still adhere to a traditional district model, and they send their children off to Mexico for 2 months. So that one student who passed everything would have made the difference in that 0.04%. I have Brooke here. Brooke is my data specialist. She can explain to you all about our report card. I think if you look at our FAE numbers and if you look at our growth points, you'll see that we are accomplishing what we need to do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to point out, I do think the FAE numbers, if you look at those, it's pretty compelling that looks like students who maintain in the program are really successful, much beyond the peer. So again, this is a tough crew of kiddos and a lot of to intentionally make a model to serve students who are first generation and facing a lot of poverty challenges. We don't see a lot of schools with quite as high of food service lunches. So I just appreciate that you're committed to that and that you said you would do something and you're sticking to it. And I would also say the fluctuation in letter grade, clearly points out that 1 kiddo, 2 kiddos makes a really big difference when you're in a really small school. So appreciate you illuminating that for us because sometimes we just see a lot of numbers and so it helps it become more concrete.
I think also, may I address again quickly, I'm really pleased with what we do with our special ed students. We have 15 students who are identified with special needs. 5 of those are autism. We have all of our students are in class. We have a push-in model rather than a pull-out model. And I think if you look at the statistics there and what our SPED kids are doing, it's really phenomenal. So those are the types of things that we really emphasize and are proud of and provide for our families.
Yeah, and board members, I don't know, just to point out, originally looking over this board packet, I was somewhat concerned, with the proficiency scores and mainly the proficiency scores compared to the 2-mile radius. But then I think the subgroup data shows a very different picture. And so if you'll notice, the ELL population that you serve is 45% compared to the 14% of the surrounding area, which is significantly different. And then with your growth points, it makes a lot of sense. So just pointing that out because that's kind of something that I originally had noticed and maybe why you're not getting as many questions as maybe normal from me. But I think that, again, it's just this extra data really provides that full picture of what you guys and who you're serving.
President Lee, I also want to give you massive bonus points. I don't think I've ever heard of a charterer who got feedback one day and fixed it the next. So you might not sleep, but we really appreciate it, so you get a gold star. That was really amazing. I know I didn't.
All right. Any other questions? Yes,
President Lee, I have just really to the superintendent. Does the state have statewide FAE averages or scores?
I haven't personally looked at those, but I'm sure our accountability team could crunch some numbers.
It'd be nice to see how the schools compare because we don't really have a data set in that 3-year. It just says a lot for keeping students in a program and staying and how much that matters for all of our kids with continuity and all that. So it'd be interesting if there's some of that data.
Yeah. I echo that request from the state. All right. With that, is there a motion?
Yeah. I move based on a review of the information provided by the representatives of the charter holder and the contents of the application package to approve the charter renewal application package and grant a renewal contract to Concordia Charter School.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, give that to Swanson. Swanson for the second.
President Close?
Aye.
Superintendent Hoffman?
Aye.
Dr. Crockett?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Twist?
Aye.
Ms. Yanoff?
Aye.
President Lee?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Congrats. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, up next, item J, compliance matters. Looks like Andrea.
The 3 compliance matters on today's agenda involve the same charter holder, Vision Charter School, Inc. If there is no objection, I will provide the background for all 3 agenda items now.
Please.
As you may recall, Vision Charter School, Inc. was most recently on the board's agenda in September and November. At the September 9th board meeting, the board approved a settlement agreement with Vision. Under the settlement agreement, Vision will close its school and surrender its charter contract effective June 30, 2020. At the November 19th board meeting, the board voted to withhold 10% of Vision's monthly state equalization for failure to submit the fiscal year 2019 audit and fiscal year 2019 annual financial report. As background for agenda items J1 and J2, state law requires charter schools to annually submit a report to the Superintendent of Public Instruction by November 15th that provides an accounting of the school's classroom site fund expenditures and a summary of the results of programs funded with these monies. The federal Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, requires the reporting of certain expense data. The Arizona Department of Education uses the school-level reporting form to collect the information required by ESSA. This form was required to be submitted to ADE by October 15th. To date, Vision Charter School, Inc. has failed to submit its fiscal year 2019 classroom site project narrative results summary and fiscal year 2019 school-level reporting form to ADE. The board may vote to add these two items to the basis of the current 10% withholding. Regarding agenda item J3, after 2 months of withholding for failure to submit the audit, board rules require a charter holder be placed on an agenda for further consideration. Funds have been withheld from Vision's December and January payments. To date, Vision has failed to submit its fiscal year 2019 audit to the board. As noted earlier, pursuant to the settlement agreement, Vision will be closing its school and surrendering its charter contract at the close of the current fiscal year. Today, the board may add to the basis of the 10% withholding and direct staff to continue its monitoring efforts and to provide updates to the board. Pursuant to state law, the charter school must be allowed to address the board before the board makes a final determination on whether to add to the basis of the current withholding. I'm available for questions.
Any questions? Okay. Is there a representative for Vision or a statement? Maybe not. Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
I'm not quite sure. I'm given the fact that the board or that Vision is going to surrender, I'm willing to just do nothing at this point, but
And
I would like to know if the board would like to do something different.
Madam President and Member Close, the staff is recommending that the board add 2 additional items to the reason for withholding.
Failure to submit?
Correct. And what that would do is if one of the issues is resolved, there's still 3 other issues that need to be resolved prior to the withholding going back to, or withholding being stopped and then the funds being given back to the charter. So it's just an additional accountability added to the reason.
Understood. Okay.
I'm sorry, President Lee. What's going on with the 27 kids that are there? I mean, it concerns me that we have a school that's non-responsive, doesn't seem to be administratively competent, and we still have kids there. What are we doing to make sure their interests are protected?
Madam President and Member Swanson, our board staff is continuing to check in with the charter representative, and we'll be doing site visits continually of that charter. I specifically will be down there in a few weeks checking in and making sure that we know exactly what's happening with those students.
and they're on a trimester schedule. Is that correct? Do we remember that? Yeah. Do we know when that second trimester ends? We don't have. Okay. I just want to make sure we do a follow-up in that 3rd trimester as well. I don't know what the timing is of that. Maybe you guys were already planning on doing that, but specifically after the 180 days.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
And do the students and the parents know the situation that they're going to surrender the charter that's been all disclosed and documented, right?
It is my understanding that, yes, they are and have been notified of the surrender, and we do check in to make sure that communication is provided to the parents.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'd be in favor of adding the 3 stipulations.
Yep.
to that.
And I just want to thank the staff for their continuing monitoring of this situation. It's an unfortunate one. For the following reasons, I move to find Vision Charter School, Inc. in noncompliance with state and federal law in its charter contract. 1, failure to timely submit its fiscal year 2019 classroom site project narrative results summary report. 2, failure to timely submit its fiscal year 2019 school level reporting form. And 3, continued failure to submit its fiscal year 2019 annual financial audit. I move to approve adding and retaining these issues as the basis for the current 10% withholding for the charter holder's monthly state aid apportionment. Withholding for these issues will continue until the charter holder completes and submits to the Arizona Department of Education its fiscal year 2019 classroom site project narrative results summary report, fiscal year 2019 school level reporting form, and fiscal year 2019 annual financial audit. I further move to direct board staff to continue monitoring Vision Charter School, Inc., and to provide updates to the board as necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Close. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Swanson with a second.
Vice President Close?
Aye.
Superintendent Hoffman?
Aye.
Dr. Crockett?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Twist?
Aye.
Ms. Yanoff?
Aye.
President Lee?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Okay, so moving on to summary of current events. Anything, Ms. Ashley?
I do not.
Okay, great. And when's our next meeting? Oh, sorry. Just making sure I'm making it to the next meeting, so.
You better.
Yeah.
February 10th.
February 10th. February 10th, and no meeting in March as of right now, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Then with that, I don't really know what I say, but adjourned, right? Okay. All right.
What do you do?